Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? This is Kyle and Mike from the Fantasy Phenom. We are back to recap an amazing Wednesday night and look forward to the very last day before All-Star Weekend. Short two-game slate to wrap up the, I guess by name only, first half. It's almost two-thirds of the way through the season, but let's first start off with some really, really good news for the Phenoms. Between two Phenoms tonight, we had a total of $10,000 won. That's not accounting for all the other winnings. And a VIP trip to Miami for the, what is it, the I don't know.
World Basketball Fantasy Championship, I think it is.
Yeah, whatever it's called. So, Mr. Collins, and I'm not going to try and pronounce your last name, sir, because I know I'm going to slaughter it. But Collins took down actually, it's Odiambo, I think is how you say it. Anyways, regardless.
Yeah, I was going to say Odiambo.
$7,700 in winnings tonight, capping it off with that big $7,000 win and a VIP trip to Miami for those DFS finals. And Nacio Moore, we've mentioned him quite a few times on the show. He won $3,000 in a contest tonight. And both of them were rocking the Fantasy Phenom logo. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for rocking with us.
Yeah, and what a beautiful logo it is. Hey, so Collins, man, I mean, it's only fitting that you're going to Miami. So if I was you with that winnings, man, I'd rent myself a coupe and drive that shit down to Collins. Get that shit done for real, man. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of all the people that cashed today. I want to see that lineup, man. I don't know if he shared it already today or not.
Oh, it's already on the Twitter and Instagram page, Mike.
All right, cool. Yeah, well, I gotta check that out. I'm falling behind, I guess.
Mike had to take a nap. He's got work in the morning in a couple hours.
Yeah, I gotta get up early, man. So yeah, I love starting off shows like this, man. It really makes the rest of this slate, worthless to me.
Oh yeah.
We just talk about winning all day.
Who said don't play on the games before All-Star Weekend?
Yeah, we got our own All-Stars, man.
And he had Rubio in his lineup, Mike.
What? He took it down with Rubio?
A 360 score with Rubio.
Good deal, man.
So, yeah, man. Great job, guys. Shout out to the rest of the winners. Collins is in the live chat, Mike. He is in the live chat.
That's commitment right there. He ain't partying. He ain't doing nothing. He's ready to rock tomorrow. 2 games. Let's spread it out. Hedge the bet.
Oh man. Well, 2 games tomorrow, man. Washington, Indiana, Boston, Chicago.
Yeah. What can you say?
Start with the point guards, man. There's not much to. there's really not much to look at tomorrow. That's for damn sure. John Wall.
Yeah, I don't know. The NBA did this shit to us, man. When we have like a 13-game slate and then a 4-game slate or 3-game slate, then a 15-game slate and a 2-game slate. It's like, come on,
Yeah,
spread this shit out for us.
Oh, by the way, we got to talk about a couple picks today, Mike. So, first of all, if you played Al Horford, I'm incredibly sorry. I didn't think he would do that bad. Clint Capella.
You win some, you lose some.
Clint Capella did awful. What other center did I have? Greg Monroe went off. I told Theo not to play Greg Monroe and to play Al Horford. So
I was talking to you about this today, man. I was all over the right spots today. I just did not put the lineups together correctly. And, I cashed and pretty much brought my buy-in back to me. But
yeah, I broke even too.
But it just sucks knowing what could have been if I would have just put those players together instead of spreading it out,
My 2 highest lineups tonight had Marc Gasol in it. And unfortunately, one of them was not in a high-price tournament that I was in. It was in the qualifier for the jumbo ticket, which I finished one place out of, which was awesome.
Yeah, speaking of, while we're dishing out congrats, let me go ahead and get this out of the way and tell you who's won our contest today on DraftKings. It was that dude Fresh, 325.5. Hell yeah, man. I think he rocked Westbrook to the winner's circle, and he had Marcus Smart as well. Those are his two highest scoring players, so congrats to you, man. I mean, again, if you place in the top 20 today in the Melee, I'm pretty sure you won some money. On FanDuel was D Goods 1978 rocking the logo. It was a line of 349.2, which was a hell of a good line, man. His top scorers on his team were Russell Westbrook. He had Giannis, and he had the Giannis Monroe stack to take it home. Oh, look at what he did. Power forwards, Kaminsky and Noel.
Who scored more
Maybe
than Mike?
Started a trend.
Who scored more?
Maybe we started a trend, man.
Who scored more out of Kaminsky and Noel? I just want to know. I just got to know.
Man.
I just got to know. I can't.
Kaminsky scored more points than
there
Noel
it
tonight.
is. There it is.
Yeah, you can have your Kaminsky, man. I ain't tripping at all about that.
Oh, by the way, just got to give this a quick shout out. If you're joining the Fantasy Phenom on Facebook, or on FanDuel, I'm sorry, the Phenom Duel, sorry, that's the name of it. Only join once. Don't join each link that Mike's post up.
Yeah.
We have one user in particular who has joined 3 contests every single day. Luckily,
really?
Yeah, it's Theo. Luckily, he doesn't finish first, so you never notice. But
yeah, I was gonna say I don't think I've ever noticed that because I don't think he's ever scored any points. So
yeah, he never wins. But
keep trying, I guess. But you're making my life a lot harder. I have to like check back every 20 minutes and make a new link. So I'll be looking out for you. And 3 strikes and you're out, bro.
Yeah. So
Theo, I also want to give a shout out to my boy Chris, who's watching the show. I'll be down there shortly, man.
Hey, what's up, Chris? All right, Mike, let's get into these point guards. John Wall, right. Lock.
John, middle name Lock, Wall. I mean, he's the only guy that I'm comfortable that he's going to get to 50 points tomorrow. He is averaging 54.5 in 3 games versus Indiana, including 54 DraftKings points about a week ago. Yeah, I mean, he's priced up a bit, but it's because it's a short slate.
Yeah, 10-4. Well, DraftKings is more expensive, but 10-4 on FanDuel, that's pretty standard for where he's been. All the John Wall tomorrow. I'm picking John Wall over Isaiah Thomas, too.
So there's no sense in fading Wall, correct?
No, I don't think you fade Wall.
The only really point to fade Wall is if you wanted to play Isaiah Thomas, Jimmy Butler, and Paul George. If you wanted to play all 3 of those guys, you'd have to fade Wall. But that's really the only way I would even consider building a lineup without Wall.
I don't want Paul George. Poor George. Fucking damn it. Paul George.
Poor Paul George in my lineup, man.
I don't want Paul George tomorrow.
Nah, it's not really that good of a match. I mean, he has played well against Washington. He's averaging 44 DraftKings points in those 3 games, and he had a 40-burger last time they played. But it's a back-to-back. He doesn't really play very well on back-to-backs. I don't know. I mean, it's not an easy fade for me. No. Jeff Teague's an easy fade for me, but Paul George isn't an easy fade.
Yeah, I'm not playing Teague. I'm looking at Isaiah Thomas. I'm thinking I'm going to build all my lineups John Wall, Isaiah Thomas, but you have to look at Rondo tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a strategy to having one lineup with Wall and Thomas, one lineup with Wall and Butler, and one lineup with Wall and George.
I'll keep the money that I'm going to throw away from rostering George tomorrow.
Because I also will say that small forward is the most limited position. So if you want to feel safe about your picks, you might have to play Butler or George.
I'm playing Butler. I'm going to try and get Wall, Thomas, and Butler in all my lineups.
Yeah, you can't do that on DraftKings. So you could probably get it on FanDuel.
Yeah, but I suck at DraftKings, Mike, so I'm going to play on FanDuel.
Well, I'm just here to provide the DraftKings analysis for you guys.
I'm terrible at DraftKings. I lost my entire buy-in on DraftKings tonight. I deposited 50 to attempt to play the beginners contest, and I lost it all both nights, last night and the night before. I played half of it last night, half tonight, and I didn't cash once.
Cool,
So
man.
yeah, sticking to FanDuel, guys.
Pat yourself on the back. It was a good try.
It was, man. I attempted. Other than that, other than those four, I don't think you look anywhere else. I think you're trying to get way too cute if you go anywhere below Rondo.
I will say, like I always like to just point things out. Obviously, I mean, you want to differentiate yourself somewhat. Marcus Smart is point guard eligible on DraftKings, so I think that's something that you can look at there. Michael Carter Williams again. He's the only one. If Wade is out again, he's really the only one other than Butler that's getting 30 plus minutes consistently, and on a 2-game slate,
Oh, that's
there's
true.
probably two handfuls of people that are getting 30 plus minutes consistently.
Carter Williams is only point guard eligible on DraftKings.
Right, and then who else you got point guard eligible? I'm probably missing somebody, but I think those guys are worth looking at today.
Thomas Satoransky is point guard eligible.
Tomas, actually, his name is.
Sorry. But I don't think that's who you had in mind, so.
No Satoransky for me.
I originally wanted to lock Beal in, but Beal does not have as good of a matchup as John Wall or Isaiah Thomas, so I'm going to fade Beal. I love Smart tomorrow, and I'm going to go with Monte Ellis as well.
So other than the top four guys, Wall, Thomas, Butler, and George, right?
Yes.
I think you can make the argument that Beal has the highest upside in comparison to his price on this entire slate.
Yes.
And just by saying that, I think he's a tournament option.
100% he's a tournament option.
And again, I think you can go Wall and Beal tomorrow.
I think you can as well, but
That's not the first thing I did when I built my lineups today. But the more I look at it, the more I'm considering having one of those.
I just think I want to go Wall and Thomas more, and I want Butler. But Wall and Butler are my two locks, and then I think I go to Isaiah Thomas after that.
No, I agree. I'm just curious. I haven't built a lineup with Wall and Beal to start out. I'm curious what it will allow me to do.
That's a fair statement. I can get behind that. Do you go below Monte Ellis tomorrow? I don't think you do.
I will say that Mr. James Young with Green and Jaylen Brown out, he played 23 minutes today. So super punt, minimum salary on DraftKings.
He is small forward on FanDuel though.
Okay, my screen's super blurry, so.
Oh, sorry.
I thought I saw James Young in there, but
Joe Young.
maybe. Oh, Mighty Joe.
But he is shooting guard eligible on DraftKings, and he's actually only shooting guard eligible on DraftKings.
Yeah, that's what I have him as. So, yeah, again, that's super punt right there.
Do we know if Gerald Green is out for sure?
Gerald Green's listed as questionable. He actually did play 5 minutes today, so I bet you see something similar to that. But the fact that he played 5 minutes and James Young played 23.
Well, Gerald Green left the game today.
Oh, he did?
Today was the day he left the game, yeah. That's why he left.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then I don't know. I imagine that they'll probably caution him and keep him out if it's game before the All-Star break. So with him and Jaylen Brown both out, yeah, I don't know. Could be something to look at.
Let me see if there's any news.
Who else is there as far as depth? I mean, it's going to mean big minutes for the wings and Smart and Crowder. They don't really like to play Rozier out of his role as backup point guard.
No, there really isn't another option.
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, Gerald Green injured his heel in Wednesday's win, but hopes to play in Thursday's matchup and will travel with the team to Chicago.
He will play? Is that what you said?
He will travel and hopes to play.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd look at any more than maybe 25 minutes for James Young, though.
Yeah, and the upside is, who knows. Again, super punt.
Okay, so Jimmy Butler, Paul George, Otto Porter, Jay Crowder.
Dude, small forward is very tough on draft or on FanDuel tomorrow. The dual position eligibility on DraftKings is going to allow you to pay up to put somebody who's non-traditional small forward in your small forward spot. For example, Markieff Morris, who I like today over Porter and Crowder. Other than those two guys, I mean, who are you looking at? I mean, I guess you can play C.J. Miles. I don't really feel like I want to play him at all.
I don't.
And that's what I'm saying. On FanDuel, it's like I feel like you have to get Butler or George in your lineup, and it's going to make you play 2 or 3 value guys if you want Wall and Thomas as well. So if you're looking to limit your punt ability in your lineup, on FanDuel, it's somewhat hard to play Wall and Thomas.
I agree with that. I think if I'm going to play, I will say my second favorite is Jay Crowder.
Oh, second favorite to who? To Butler?
After Butler and George. I don't really like George at all, but not for his price. I just think his upside is limited with what he can do, but I like Crowder over Porter.
Generally speaking, I do as well. I really don't like either of these guys, to be honest with you. I like Crowder's price. I'll take the $600 and pay for Crowder over Porter. But again, I think if I'm going to pay up there, I'm just going to put Markieff Morris in that spot on DraftKings.
Nah, that's definitely a good strategy. Doug McDermott, no thank you.
Yeah, so Doug McDermott, man, he had a good game, and he played 32 minutes last game, second at Butler, but it's not going to continue. I mean, this was what happened. Remember when everyone got on the Jimmy Buckets train?
Yeah.
With all the injuries, and it came after a huge game in Toronto? Seems oddly familiar, doesn't it? I guess he's got to be in play for what he did last game, and he's a streaky shooter type guy, so streak may be coming in, but not for me.
Power forward. So you have Markieff Morris at 74 and 69. After that, you have Taj Gibson at 47 and 46.
Yeah, I think this is the position to finesse tomorrow. And by finesse, I mean, flex your intellect as far as playing DFS on a daily basis. And so I think there's a lot of potential value here at power forward. What do you think?
Seraphin, if Mirotic plays, I can see that. Amir Johnson, super punt. Bobby Portis, super punt.
Right, so with Mirotic out, it has limited the front court to 4 guys. They've got Portis, Gibson, Felicio, and Lopez, right? And they are not really shy to give Felicio or Portis extra run if one of them is playing well. We've seen Lopez get limited under 24 minutes in each of the last 3 games. Taj Gibson has played anywhere from 26 to 30, except for the game that Portis got the extra run. So I think if Mirotic doesn't play again, I think there could be some value. Obviously, Portis was the guy against Minnesota, and Felicio was the guy against Toronto. I'm just kind of hoping Mirotic does play, because then you don't have to look at any of them, including Mirotic. I think if Mirotic does play, the only guy I'm somewhat looking at is Taj Gibson in that matchup.
That's fair.
But it's a solid matchup for the front court of Chicago. So one of these guys is going to provide you some value. It's just it's gonna be tough.
Kevin Seraphin.
Seraphin's played some minutes, man. He's playing more minutes than Lavoy Allen did when Lavoy Allen was getting the start. He's played 26 minutes and 27 minutes in each of the last 2. He had 30 DraftKings points against Washington. I think that game was on the 10th, so 6 days ago. He had 30 points against Washington. I don't know. I don't feel like he's going to be a well-kept secret today, and for that reason, I don't know that I'm super high on him, but I definitely he's definitely ended up in my early lineup building a lot.
The upside is extremely limited for what it's worth.
Right, and the fact that I don't think it's going to be a secret. Yeah. I don't know. I think I could go Taj or I don't know. Amir Johnson or even Kelly Olynyk. He's a power forward eligible on DraftKings.
Amir Johnson, yeah, super punt for me, but I think you have to look at him.
Yeah, I was saying earlier before the show, it seems like 3 out of 4 games, or Kelly Olynyk plays more minutes than Amir Johnson as of late, right?
Yep.
So if you're making 4 lineups, have 3 Kelly Olynyks and 1 Amir Johnson.
All right. Al Horford, Marcin Gortat, Miles Turner, Kelly Olynyk, and Robin Lopez. And then I guess you can look at Felicio as well.
Right. I'm firmly looking at Gortat tomorrow. In comparison to his season average and DraftKings points, he is like a plus 12 when he plays Indiana. What I mean by that is, so he averages 32 fantasy DraftKings points on the season. So it's okay. It's more like a plus 7, and he is averaging 40 DraftKings points against Indiana in 3 games.
I don't know. I kind of like Kelly Olynyk.
Again, FanDuel, it's going to be tough. You know, if you want to make that decision to punt there, obviously he's been showing out as of late. They've been giving him the extra run. He's in somewhat of a good matchup. I could see why you would want to go there. I just think Gortat is the best center on the slate.
He is, but at 7,300, if I want to, I'm gonna have to fade Thomas if that's the case, and then I have to pay down to Rondo. So essentially,
It's 7,300. I mean, he's only 6K on DraftKings.
So I think you have to think about it from this standpoint of, on FanDuel, right? If I do that with how I built my lineup already, I go from Isaiah Thomas to Rondo, and then Olynyk to Gortat. But then I have a shitload of money left. I have like 3,000 left in salary. And I guess maybe I pay up to Crowder, but do I like the upside of Crowder and Rondo more than...
Why do you have to play Rondo? I don't understand.
What other point guard am I? You want me to go to Teague?
I guess I don't know. I haven't really looked at who's point guard eligible on FanDuel. I guess I don't.
Well, on FanDuel, these are my options right here. So if I fade Isaiah Thomas at 10,000, it's either Teague or Rondo. I'm not playing anyone below Rondo, and I don't really like Teague tomorrow.
Right.
So
you're pretty much handcuffed into playing value on FanDuel, is what you're saying. Yes. You cannot play a balanced lineup.
No.
See, that's interesting. On DraftKings, you don't have to play value plays tomorrow if you don't want to. I think it's probably smart to pick 1 or 2. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick 2 guys that I'm feeling the most comfortable with, and Olynyk is definitely in that conversation. Yeah, so that's interesting that you really are going to have to really dive into the value tomorrow if you're playing FanDuel and decide which is the best of the best. Because you're probably going to need 3 guys, right?
At least, yeah. At least 2. I can tell you what I have in a preliminary lineup right now. Let me see.
Trying to read this chat. It's so fucking blurry.
John Wall, Isaiah Thomas, Marcus Smart, Monte Ellis, Jimmy Butler, Glenn Robinson III, Markieff Morris, Kevin Seraphim, and Kelly Olynyk.
So that's 4 value guys, including 2 that are very risky with Monte Ellis and Glenn Robinson.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm trying to avoid the risky value tomorrow. I mean, I'm going to have a line that does have something like that, but I think my riskier plays are going to be like Amir Johnson and James Young, like completely off the board plays, or like Portis or Felicio. Like I'm gonna make a really risky lineup that has high risk, high reward value instead of like I think Glenn Robinson. We've seen what he can do in 30 minutes multiple times this year.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, I can't do that either. I can do.
Initially, when I was building my lineups, I said, you know what, I want to stack Washington.
Mm-hmm.
All of the numbers that I've run are going to say they're saying to stack Washington and to fade Indiana. So I want Wall and I want Gortat, and then I decided I'm going to either play Beal or Morris. I'm not going to play Porter. So I'm going to have lineups with John Wall, Beal, and Gortat, and I'm going to have lineups with John Wall, Morris, and Gortat. However, I'm thinking I'm going to have more Morris because I don't like anybody at small forward. So the lineups that I have Beal in, I'm probably going to have to fade Isaiah Thomas to get to one of the higher price guys at small forward, probably Jimmy Butler. So I can see my lineup building as far as studs go tomorrow. Wall, Morris, Thomas, and Gortat, and Wall, Beal, Butler, and Gortat.
All right, so here's the most balanced I can get right now without really diving in. Isaiah Thomas and Rajon Rondo, Monte Ellis, Marcus Smart, Jimmy Butler, Jay Crowder, Taj Gibson, Markieff Morris, and Marcin Gortat.
I don't necessarily hate that.
I don't
I mean, we've
either.
seen Rondo's. We've seen Rondo's upside, and then this Monte Ellis is really the only really risky guy, and he's shown a 20-point floor in his last 5. So, I don't necessarily hate that play. I think Crowder would be my least favorite out of the bunch, and then obviously Gibson is somewhat of a question mark, but I think he's pretty safe
Yeah, the only problem
as
I
far as
have is
minutes.
fading John Wall.
Oh yeah, I didn't even realize that. That's a big problem.
I don't know, man.
So yeah, lineup building. I mean, it's going to be interesting. Like I said, the strategy that I'm probably going to go with is what I just told you as far as the Washington stack. Pick 3 guys, and then the last lineup I'm probably going to have a Wall and George, so I can get some George exposure. Um, but it doesn't seem too. It seems pretty straightforward, man. All I can tell you is evaluate your lineups based on a high risk, high reward, and put them into their respective contests. Like I'm going to put my high risk lineups into the lineups that have the 150 max entries, or again, a high risk, high reward type of contest.
Yeah.
And the ones that I'm more confident in, and I feel like the value isn't as risky, I'm going to put those in my single entries, and those in my high dollar GPPs. And again, if you guys, I mean, I had some questions today. I think I'm getting more and more about what do I look at for cash or GPP, or how much do I put my money in, or what tournaments do I play. And we got this week off. This would be a prime time to take a step back, kind of look at what your winnings have been or your losses have been, and maybe develop a new strategy going forward for the month of March. And we can help with that.
Hell yeah. Also, we're going to be covering, well, we're not. We have some people in the Slack group that are going to be covering hockey over the basketball break. So if you're looking.
I'll be in there too, actually. I'll be playing some hockey over the break, so look for me in there. I mean, I have my own strategy. I'll have to dust the cobwebs off and make sure it's all still the same as it was in November. But
I don't have
I'll
a
be playing some
strategy.
hockey. I'll be watching some hockey.
I don't have a strategy. I'm going to defer to Mike and the other guys, Alex and Joseph and David, on that one. It's not going to be me.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited about that.
We got NASCAR coming up, end of February. I believe is the Daytona 500. So
Yeah.
there's that. Am I missing anything? Baseball's obviously coming up. We're working round the clock right now to get baseball projections done. We're coming up with a baseline, things like that. So shout out to Josh Sands for that, compiling all these stats.
Yes.
But I'm telling you, man, Slack is the place to be. If you're not in Slack yet and you are a pro member, make sure you hit us up. I will verify that you're a pro member and get you into Slack. That is the number one place for our communication, and I've not heard a bad thing about it yet from anyone in the group. the communication and the organization in there is top notch compared to a place like Facebook. So
Yeah, and if you guys have any and all feedback, and just kind of message us, or we want all the feedback, whether it be about Slack or the video or um, I don't know, anything, man. Just let us know.
hell yeah, we'll make it happen for you guys.
That's
We'll
the
get
name
you
of
in
the
there.
game. You guys are our bosses.
That's right. So
Hey, and final cheers to our winners.
Collins and Nacio, I believe is how you say his name. Congrats to you
Yeah,
guys.
we can't say enough how much that means to us, and you know, you take a second and let us know what you did, or if you did anything out of the ordinary today that put you on to people, or I don't know. We love stories about like that. I'm sure that our viewers will as well.
Yeah, and on top of that, man, if you guys are winning, get in the Slack group. The guys would love to hear. They love to see your lineups. They love to see what your thought process was around rostering and the lineup construction. So the more winners we have in that Slack group, the better it is. I know not everyone has the bankroll, that some of these guys have, but
Hmm.
still the thought process is the same whether you're playing 50 or 5, right? And so, well, generally speaking. Um, so we'd love your input in the group, and appreciate you guys joining. Appreciate all the people that are supporting the show, making it happen. We're nothing without you guys, and we're just continuing to grow. Over this All-Star break is going to give us a big opportunity to hopefully gain some groundwork on this website.
Yep, take the next step for sure.
It's definitely slower than we anticipated, but we're not going to rush out the product. Um, it's just going to be. It's only going to hurt us long run if we rush out the product, right? And so, obviously, we have something that's working right now. It's not ideal. It's not perfect, but I'm trying to make these spreadsheets as useful as they can be until that website is up, and go from there, man.
Yeah, if you guys are new, I can somewhat see how it might seem all over the place at first, but just give it a second, message us, email us. We'll be sure to put you in the right direction. It's not as complicated as it seems. It's all there for you. It's just getting used to it, really. Tomorrow, obviously, there's no Vegas lines post. I'll put out my stacking stats to the pro members, and I've got a couple questions today, actually, and the day before, about what these numbers mean. Because I know it's somewhat intimidating. It's a bunch of numbers, so um, if you're looking at it, and you're like and just dismissing it because you don't really understand it. You're missing out on some potential resource. So just message me. I'll let you know like what exactly I'm looking at, and as far as compiling the statistics.
Yeah, no. So hit up Mike. He'll explain his whole stacking strategy. You got any questions? Hit us up. Me, Mike, Josh, JC, Dave, Jay. Hell, hit up Collins. There's a bunch of guys in here that are winning. And most important, I'm telling you,
Right.
just get in the Slack group, man. I'm telling you, if you're a pro member, get in the Slack group. That's the best place to be. There's so many people and resources to use there. So, good luck tomorrow, guys. Last video, I think, for a week. We might have one on during the week, but that'll be dependent on what we can get organized. We might have a plan in place, but we'll see. I'm not going to promise anything.
Yeah. The next actual slate of games is a week from today. If you're watching this or listening on Thursday,
So it'll be
the
next
next
Wednesday.
Thursday is the next Thursday is the next slate of games.
Yeah, so next Wednesday will be our next show.
Right.
So, whew. All right, guys. Well, thank you again. Have a wonderful night, and good luck. Enjoy the All Star weekend, and we'll look forward to seeing you in Slack.